Hey guys, this is Dartamos with Dartamos Dominions. I am back here with Coconut. Vish, how are you doing, dude?
I'm good, thanks.
Now, are you okay with me calling you Vish? Because that's what I've called you for years.
I mean, it's part of my name, so yes, I am okay with it.
Okay, excellent. Genzlov, how are you doing, dude? Oh, I think he might have stepped away. Grippa, how are you doing, dude?
I'm doing good.
Missourian, how are you doing, dude?
Doing well, thanks.
Nosy, once again, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Now, we did not get through all of the messages in the last episode, so we're going to try to do that this time. I'm going to skip off on Vans until he gets back. Van,
I'm
are you
back. I'm sorry.
Okay, good.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Hey, do you want to read this book of a message?
Oh yeah, how do I have 5 neighbors already? So I'm basically complaining that it seems like all my neighbors expand in my direction. Or either that or the map feels small.
Or you expanded too fast.
Or everybody expanded too fast?
That's the guide 2 provinces for my cat.
This is what was, I remember I played a game with Vish once where I think expansion was over on one of those map nuke maps, and it was over in the first, I want to say in 8 turns it was done. Do you remember that, Nosy? It was the one where you were, I want to say you were either Arco or you were Hinnom.
I was Arco in the Arco Hinnom pair. Yeah, it was tiny. I don't remember.
It was 14 provinces per player.
Oh yeah, that was gone in no time.
Yeah, it was completely gone. So yeah, 5 neighbors, dude. How do you feel about that?
Not very good, honestly. I mean, yeah, that's not a good situation to be in.
Vish, you are going to have to play as the Ubar player. Actually, okay. Actually, I'm going to hit you up on this one. Vish, you weren't here when we were talking about the steel ovens. It's kind of what he's talking about. His expansion's over. And he just found out that he has the steel ovens, and I need to find his. How important is this site for you?
Well, it depends on the nation, but for Uber, I think it is quite nice because they can make air quills and maybe thug gear from it.
Would you start a war over this site?
Yes, definitely. If I think I can beat the nation.
Okay. Now, would it be something that you would try to maybe try to threaten away from them, or would you just jump in on them? How would you work if you had a site that you wanted that you couldn't like just over the border?
If I'm strong enough, then I'll take it, then negotiate later. That's ideal, basically.
This is why I enjoy playing with you, because I don't do that attack first and then apologize later. It's just not my style. How often do you negotiate with somebody that you're fighting? Do you ever go into peace after going to war?
Yes, definitely. If the war isn't very beneficial for me, as in if I take too many losses, I think you see Lucid doing it a lot.
Nosy, how often do you negotiate to peace?
Well, usually I'm going for the jugular more often than not. I don't typically pick targets to take little pieces of land. I intend to take all of it. So it's not super common that I break off from a war, but it does happen occasionally, especially if I think it's going to be too expensive.
Missourian, is the war to the death, or is it to the advantage?
Oh, to the advantage. Absolutely.
How often do you go to war, or do you go to peace after going into war?
I try to fight to annihilation if I can. I try to eat a neighbor, but barring that, I mean, it really just depends on the game state. I try to be as objective, as analytical as I can. I do try to avoid, and I think I'm pretty good at this. Drawn out wars that are costing more than what you would normally, what it would cost you to go to peace, because peace is costly. You're falling behind if you're at peace.
Yes.
But if it's costing you even more to be at war, then that's what you got to do. I sort of take pride in not getting, driven by emotion. I don't get tilted. I don't get bent out of shape. I don't start wars or continue wars for those reasons. So I say that's a strength of my play.
Grippa, one of the interesting things I like about you is that you always seem very laid back, and that how much does emotion go into a war? Are you upset during a war? How is your feelings during the war?
Usually pretty laid back about it, as long as I don't feel like. So there have been a couple wars where I have definitely gotten pretty emotionally, I'll say, tilted about it. But it typically doesn't happen. Again, I'm here for Dominions because I find this fun, and the PvP part, guys. I mean, it's inherently PvP. Doing multiplayer like this, you're gonna have to fight somebody, or I mean, not always, I guess, as I have done before, but it's part of the game, and you have to learn like when everyone has to do something eventually, and you can't be angry at someone because like, hey, I'm Mr. Van Heim, and you look pretty tasty. I'm going to eat you now.
You've got a
As happened.
serious problem with Van Heim. Van Heim is not the only power nation in this game.
It's fun to make fun of the elves. It's just too easy. But I mean, it's a thing that you can't be too mad. You got to kind of roll with the punches sometimes, and that's why I always try to make everything just abundantly a joke at times, because it's just it's fun.
Van,
like my prophet name.
Oh, hey, keep going, dude.
No, I'm done.
Okay, Van. Sorry, Gazlov. Yeah, your name is Van now. Gazlov. Have you ever met anybody that you knew that the peace would be beneficial to you both, but they would not take it?
Yeah, the last game you recorded. You saw what happened with Ermor. I mean, he spent hundreds and hundreds of death gems invading me, and I kept trying to get him to peace out because there was just it wasn't beneficial to either of us, and he just wouldn't stop attacking me, and eventually Scaleria won.
Vish, if you have somebody who's red in the eyes, what do you do in that situation?
I mean, there's nothing you can do except try to win.
Do you try to get any coalitions going, or is the game over for you at that point?
I don't think I've ever been in a situation where they're unreasonable and I'm losing as well, but yeah, I do try to get players to attack them as well.
Do you think that that's because of your diplomatic style, or is it because of just the roll of the dice?
Well, I think it's about the way you play the game, because only if you're weak enough do you get the position that you could lose because of that.
Gazlov, I'm kind of curious on your end, because that's why I play with Vish, is because he's got the better diplomatic know-how. Do you think that you get into those never-ending wars because of your diplomatic prowess, or is it just like the diplomatic
Or lack of?
Yeah, exactly. Same with me. What's your thoughts? Do you think it's your diplomatic skill, or do you think it's just a roll of the dice?
It's probably my diplomatic skill, but on the other hand, there are lots of games where I don't have any problem piecing out with neighbors that I've had war with. Even this game, later on, I piece out with somebody where we both recognize that the war is not beneficial to either of us.
Excellent, and that's a good segue to remind me that I need to get back to the turns. So, is there anything? Ooh, we had an Azure Initiate. How scary is this Nosy? Because it's your force.
Not particularly.
Okay, excellent. Then
He
we'll move on.
might kill a white centaur, maybe, but pretty low threat compared to an air mage.
Ouch. This looks a little disastrous. Grippa, you've got the elephants in your territory. Is this the elephant province in your cap circle?
No, not mine, I don't believe.
Okay, is this what you're worried about, right?
Yes. except like 5 more elephants.
I'm kind of curious because my replay is messed up. I'm kind of curious as to whether he'll lose again, and it looks like he did. Would you have jumped in on this, Grippa, with the forces that he had?
Coney Knights are strong, but I mean, those elephants could just trample everything else and rout them because of HP, so it's hard to tell. He's a much better, much better player, let alone Marverni player than I am, so I think he felt confident.
Did he have his prophet there? He doesn't, does he?
I don't see. Oh no, yeah, he does.
Oh, yeah, he does. Okay. I'm surprised that didn't stun some of the elephants.
I'm surprised. This formation looks a little odd. Vish, is there some way? Does this look right to you? Would you have do you think this is a formation issue, or was this just a bad judgment call?
I think it was a bit of both. I think he would have lost 80% of the time, but he could have made his formation better as well.
Looks like he combined 2 armies here.
I think you're right, dude. And he didn't push the Y button to make sure that they were overlapping. What do you so Vish, what would be a better formation here?
I would put the horses a bit in front so the elephants trample them or try to, because they can dodge some of the tramples. But I don't know. I don't think they could have won.
I think if he stunned a few of the elephants with the smite, he would have had a lot better chances.
Yeah, I think if his smite was one of the good ones, then maybe it would have been better.
Yeah, it's an air smite.
Yeah, he didn't even get a smite off until they were already engaged. I think you're right though, Vish. The elephants are going into the infantry first.
Did the elephant just pass 2 MR checks? That should have been stunned.
That's very possible. Where are my elephants?
Check the prophet for the rolls.
Is that? Oh, that's not him. Not him. Is that it right there?
Failed to resist. Doesn't that have a stun effect on MR?
Yeah, it doesn't look like it. It's really there's shock damage. Yeah, the shock damage should do it. How does shock damage work?
Well, it's a chance.
You should know this.
Yeah, no, it's just a chance to stun based on the percentage of HP that it takes out. And so this particular bless is just, I think it's 10 armor negating lightning damage. I think the astral one will stun you.
And the earth one will petrify as well, which is also very effective against elephants.
Okay, so just ended up having a bad bless, a bad formation. I personally think that he should have put everybody into a nice, neat square. Like put his guys right here, put everybody on, put them as far up front as he can, and then hold an attack and hope that the elephants just go right into the middle of the square, because it feels like he got piecemealed here. Maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong on that.
I'd actually rather have the troops further back to try and fight the elephants away from the other troops.
Okay. And he's also got the javelins, and it didn't look like he threw any javelins. Are javelins of any use against elephants?
That's free damage.
Okay.
Probably not. I think you don't want to throw javelins against elephants, because I think their normal attack deals more damage than the javelin, and what will happen is they'll throw their javelin, and then the elephants, they'll take a little bit of damage, but then they'll crash into your line and just wreck everything before they get a chance to attack.
Okay. Oh, and if you're on fire, then they're not all trying to surround the elephant. Okay, so... Oh, why are there only 3 commanders here? Do you remember this one, Nosy?
This was the failed expansion on the previous turn that cleaned out all of the troops and only left commanders.
And it looks really good, dude. I mean, this is one interesting thing that I see as a better play is that I could see looking at this thing, I only have 8 troops. They're crappy troops. I might lose. I shouldn't do this. And you jumped in anyways. Yeah. Ooch. Dark Vines. Grippa. This one's on you, dude. Were you worried at all?
A little bit, but again, I was like, just go hard or go home. So just keep going, see what happens.
Okay, so we have a
I'm
master,
I'm super amazed I won this.
2 slaves, and 3 masters. This should
Did
be
they
fun.
all Sabbath up?
They all did.
Huh.
So it looks like they're casting bleed. Oh man.
Oh, sleep class.
Is he sleeping? Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
but so are all the troops.
Oh, okay. You're good to go, dude. I was a little bit worried there. I hadn't seen the results. So, Grippa, how are you enjoying the Dione expand?
It's harrowing having your entire nation rest on. I don't do super combatants. I don't do thugs even really. I'll use them if I have to, but I don't like that is not my game style. So this has been very much a game of we're going to find out how this works sort of thing. And this was my experiment with what is a classical, I guess, super combatant for the early game.
Vish, I'm going to go to you on this one because I know we've played a couple of games with Diones. He went with a regeneration bless and a little bit in addition to that. Is this the only bless that you can do for Diones?
I think I've seen people do or because it works well with fear, but I think overall regeneration is a solid pick.
We did a rainbow bless on in one of our disciples games where you kind of got you went second car on that one if I remember correctly. Would you suggest a rainbow bless again?
Yeah, if you want to rely on your Shikomi, I think that's a better option if you do. But it depends how you play it.
But you wouldn't expand with the Diones then?
No, I'd expand with probably the small goblins.
Missourian, what do you think about an alternate expand for Yomi? Do you know Yomi very well?
Unfortunately, no. I'm the kind of player that I've done some deep dives into the nations that I have played and have not looked a whole lot at nations that I haven't. I just don't know Yomi very well.
What nations are you a specialist on?
I really like Banderlog is probably the one I'm the most familiar with. Ind, to a lesser extent, Arco, especially MA. I like the magic nations. I like the astral nations.
Nosy, how much of a specialist are you?
These days, I'm probably becoming a bit of a Hinnom specialist. Fair to say, I've got more game time with them, and perhaps even giant nation specialist. Come to think of it, I think out of about 6 games with giants, I got about 5 wins.
How many games did it take you to make you feel like comfortable with the nations?
See, I tend to spread games around a lot more. So I apart from Hinnom and early days playing Dominions MA Relay, I haven't usually revisited the same nation again.
That's my style as well. I like to try different nations. Vish, would you call yourself a specialist or an expert in any nations?
I wouldn't call myself a specialist, but I'd say I'm quite good with most nations because you kind of get a feel for dominions after playing for a while.
I find that entertaining because I think that your EA Niflheim game is probably the best that I see you playing.
Yeah, I think I'm good with giant nations in general because they're pretty foolproof. Like, for example, some of the battlefield clears of file vapors don't work as well on them.
Gezov, do you find yourself being a specialist to win you more games?
I think certain nations definitely take a few, maybe several tries at just to really min max kind of thing. Yeah, I mean, as you know, I mostly play Vanheim, and so I just think there's a lot of value in practicing a single nation a lot.
Grippa, you went back and forth. Oh, Missouri, were you going to say something?
Oh yeah, I was just going to add. I think Lucid said recently, it takes 3 tries to really learn a nation, and I've kind of gone the specialist route myself, and that does have advantages. But I think for really learning the game, I think probably Coconut's way is probably the better way, honestly. Even when I know my own nation, I often don't know the matchups because I don't know the other nations. So Yomi being a prime example, if I bumped up against Yomi, I'm not sure what I would do. So just an observation.
Grippa, do you think that there's like a skill level where there's some nations that you really need to become an expert at in order to be good at them? Or do you think that you could be any nation you could, has about the same the learning level?
No, there are definitely nations that require a lot more, and a lot of the nations require certain degrees to really bring out their potential. Like, I keep going to new castings, but I chose Utgard as my first nation ever played, strictly because I love the idea of giant frosty giants, and I just wanted to use giant frosty giants to smash things with giant axes. Uh, didn't know magic, didn't know communions, didn't know Sabbaths, didn't know thugs. All things Utgard excels at. Didn't use any of them because I just like the giant giants.
That's fair enough, dude. Okay, so wait, oh crud, now I forget where we are. Oh yeah, we're on the 3rd battle. Okay. Oh no, we're beyond this. Okay. So Wolf Tribe. Oh, that looks like a lot of losses for this van. What happened?
It's not really. I mean, this force is really depleted. It's my starting army, and they have conquered as much as they're going to conquer.
Are you content in having these guys die victoriously? Of course, because this one in the replay they lost. Oh, did they? Maybe not.
Weird.
Yeah, it's really
So
weird.
I got lucky, I guess.
I guess maybe I wonder if the van here. Let me replay that and push N real quick.
The thing is, I want to get the starting units to die because their upkeep is more expensive than the Van Heers.
Okay, so yeah, they lost them. Okay, so you're trying to actually get your upkeep lower.
Yeah, the only units I want in my army are Van Heers and then mounted herdmen. So the Huskarls are unfortunately on a one-way trip to Valhalla.
Missourian, your starting army, do you ever bring it back for reinforcements, or is it the Lost Legion just keep marching until you can march no more?
For the most part, if I even send them out, I think Banderlog is the only nation I do this with. But in the case of Banderlog, I won't send it out at all. I'll actually split it up and use bits of them as chaff for later expansion parties.
Lance tips.
Yep.
Okay, so successful though. What's really interesting is even though you took a lot of losses, you were successful. Ubar is expanding with 9 guys. Missourian, is this 9? 9 seems a little bit of overkill.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm not quite sure what the ideal safe number is for Ubar. This would be the upper end of it for sure. Somewhere between 6 and 9, but I'm not sure.
Could you recruit a party of that every turn?
Absolutely not.
Actually, with the way Kirby goes heavy scales with this nation.
Scales is an understatement. He goes noblesse entirely.
Well, and that makes sense with this nation, but he also goes virtually no pretender as well. So that's sort of the interesting thing with Ubar is a lot of the builds that they want are imprisoned, I think, but you have to go dormant. So it's kind of every build you come up with, it's sort of a square peg in a round hole kind of thing. And from the builds that I've seen Kirby take, and he and I have talked about Ubar quite a bit. He likes to compromise the Pretender and the Bless and go heavy scales. So I think 9 is probably not a big deal for him.
Vish, when you were talking about percentages before, and it's one of the interesting things whenever I'm in conversation with you, you speak in percentages. When you're expanding, how many risks do you take?
I take very little, especially with something like Ubar, because you wouldn't want to lose any of your Jin warriors because you need a critical mass of them to rush someone later on. So I would use 8 or 9.
What is your, like, when you're expanding, what would be an unacceptable, like, specifically in Ubar, what would be an unacceptable risk?
Going into provinces with hard provinces with only like 4 or 5 Jin warriors.
Are you okay in taking attrition?
I prefer not to, but in some cases you never know because it is very dice based.
Okay, so you're willing to take those risks.
Yeah, if it's worth it, yes.
Grippa, you were talking about sending Dione in randomly. How much are you willing to take a risk with a Dione unit?
I'll risk it if I have to secure provinces I think I really need. Otherwise, I'm not going to push it. Like, I pushed into that one with all the blood guys because I thought that I might bump into someone. And that was like the very far extreme of what I'd want. So I didn't want to push further, but I want to make sure that I didn't get like left out.
Now, Nosy, I think that this is an especially interesting question for you, as we're probably going to see some more attrition. At what point do you take an expansion party and say, "I've taken too much attrition, I'm going home"? Do you ever do that, or how does that work?
Oh, it depends very much on the nation in question, but I'll usually run if I'm expanding with a new party every turn. I'll usually run the party down until it's basically dead. If it clearly cannot make another expansion, then I've just got to combine it with another party. As would be the case in a pan expansion, for example. One party every turn. If one of them's too attrition to take a province on its own, it joins up with somewhere else.
Excellent. Okay, let's move on. Hooch. This is really interesting. I'm guessing these are mercenaries, correct?
Yes. And probably his last turn of having those.
Oh, that's a really good idea. Do you want to explain to that, Nosy?
Well, if you kill them off on the last turn. Although archers are normally good at barbs, so there was probably a bit of that thinking involved with the decision there. But if you're done with the merc, you don't intend to use them for anything else, and you've got somewhere you can send them to die, stops anyone else from getting them.
Okay, so let's move on. Oh my goodness. So Marverni, he seems to be I mean you probably Gaslov, did you see his expand very much?
I didn't. But yeah, it looks like he's been having some trouble.
Okay.
You say that, but he hits a lot of provinces, has a lot of failed expansions, and then he hits many more provinces, and then they work. So it kind of averages out, and he gets a lot of provinces in the end.
The thing I'm worried about is he's losing a lot of gold per turn. Now this was just bad luck. But yeah, it seems like he's losing a lot of gold worth of troops every turn.
So what's he at? How many provinces?
That's a good question. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 on turn 7. That is not bad at all.
Yeah,
that's pretty good. That is pretty good.
And considering he's basically doing a scales expansion, he's not relying on sacreds or a pretender. That's pretty good.
And speaking of expanding, you have 14, Nosy. Helheim has 2, 4, 6, 8. And yeah, it's really interesting. I think that you're actually in the lead.
You can
2,
check
4,
graph.
6. Oh, that's if only there was a visual way of being able to see all of the provinces. I think that this is Pan, and that's Marverni. So you two are both in the lead, province wise and income wise. Okay.
He should be well up on me income-wise.
Oh, was he? I might have
He
gotten
should be. My scales are not great.
The thing is, scales haven't really. Oh no, you are 100% correct. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
there's
kind
the
of an
difference
interesting
in the
list.
capital income for one, and plus I know from watching previous episodes that he got that nice farmland too. It's like a
So,
second capital right there.
oh, you're talking this one right here. Yeah. Oh my, that is nuts. That kind of goes into another question I have is how much do you stress aiming for farmlands initially? Vish, how much do you stress, aiming for those farmlands?
Quite a lot, because good provinces can be 3 or 4 times more valuable gold-wise than bad provinces.
Gazlov, do you look at the gold of a province or do you look at the indies?
No, I definitely want the gold. I'm a very gold heavy nation.
Are you willing to take the attrition for the high gold provinces?
Absolutely. Oh yeah.
Missourian, what's your thoughts on this? You had the most mobility. Did you aim for, I'm seeing, okay, these are elephants, but were you aiming for these big provinces or what were you looking at?
Yeah, I was eyeing this farmland forever. And in general, yeah, I look at gold. I also try to pay attention to just general game state, how a border is going to shape up, things like that. Sometimes positional elements, natural choke points, but gold first and foremost.
Okay, let's move on to Theranos is continuing to expand. Do we want to go over the underwater indies? Oh my. Okay, so this is beautiful. Grippa, did you think you were gonna win this?
I was certainly hoping I was.
Is he dead already? Oh no, okay. Now is this a scary province for you, Grippa, or were you fairly confident that you were solid on this?
They hit hard, and so I don't think this was a Dione expansion. I think this was my Oni Shugo. So they have a bunch of priests too, which can remove that second form, which, ow.
What's interesting is that I look at the players that play as Yomi, and I kind of like to see what they do with this initial expansion party because it is so brittle. Nosy, is this still as brittle as it used to be, or did it get a change in the last year since I played them?
I am not experienced at all with Yomi. I actually haven't even had to fight them that I can recall in EA. Which is a shame because I often play nations that can do holy scourges.
Vish, there you go. Good.
But one thing I will mention about that particular party going into Crystal Amazons, and that they summoned some nice mind burn chaff. The wolves soak up all those hits, and then I think
Oh,
the
that's a
mages
really
get
good idea.
fatigued out.
Vish, how's this expansion party? Because you played them recently, or recent-ish.
I think the Kohosts can be very good in turmoil provinces, but the bandits aren't very good in my opinion.
That's absolutely. It's another unit, like 9 gold, a 12 attack, 15 damage. Like that's nuts to me. This feels like a really good unit.
Actually, it does look better than I thought it was, but I still think that they're not very good.
Like they've got 12 protection. Why is this only 9 gold?
Bear in mind they're on Yomi. Gold isn't exactly a luxury you have.
Yeah.
That's true. That's probably it. Okay, so okay, war elephants die terribly. How? Oh my goodness! I do. We do need to wrap up, but there are some. This is interesting. Gazlov, can you tell us what happens to these elephants? Is this a bump?
Yeah, this is a bump.
I found sales. Oh no, this is Joe Brandon.
I was surprised actually that the elephants lost this.
Okay, I'm not the only one that's like really amazed that this is happening. Can they not hit him? What's going on here?
What's the defense of the Onishugo?
Yeah, that's
he also
it is.
didn't get trampled until
Not that
fairly
great.
late. Like there'd already been a bit of combat, and he's ethereal as well. Yeah.
He became ethereal,
Yeah.
Yeah, he became ethereal. Okay. Okay, so once he became ethereal, then he could start beating up on these guys, and then they just routed because of morale and probably HP lost. That's nuts to me. Like looking at this, I would 100%. I would say that that's guaranteed that it's going to be the war elephants that won, and yet it didn't. That's nuts.
And it was also the case that the replay just then, the elephants also lost, which is interesting.
Yeah, it's. I mean, Nosy,
Yeah, I
did you see
wonder-
this coming?
I
If-
would have backed the elephants in, I have to say.
Yes.
Which I was going to say that I'd expect on a re-roll the elephant should win, but that replay should actually be a different roll compared to the battle report.
Yeah,
If
guess
I
what were you saying?
recall correctly,
Oh.
the elephants hop into the Ko-Oni, and the Ko-Onis just wreck them. Like, because it's like those 6 per square, they came in and got like evaporated by the Ko-Oni strikes.
That's
Can we
not
see the
normally the
shape of
case
the
though,
elephant?
because
Guess
the
I'll
trample hits 6 of them per square too.
Sorry, guess can you get your comment in because I know you've been trying.
Yeah, it's just where's the commander?
This is him right here. This Onishugo.
No,
here.
the elephant commander.
Ooh.
Did he get sniped? No. I mean, he's safely in the back.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Hmm.
No, that wasn't the commander.
Oh my goodness, these guys hit for 18 damage.
It wasn't the commander in the back. He must be up the front.
Okay. So
Yeah, I'm not sure where they're.
Yeah. Okay. So that's how. Wait. Hold on. Oh, there we go. Yeah, an 18 damage attack right there. Oh, but that's exploding dice. Okay, so the Ko-Onis are evading. Look at this, like evade. So they're only taking 1 damage at a time. They're high defense. It's got to be the high defense.
Well, I'm thinking the commander may have gotten sliced up by this
Oops.
coat. What is he? What is the
Yeah,
Onishugo.
the commander hit.
Onishugo?
Oh wow, yeah, he just got hammered.
Well, maybe that's not him then.
No, it wasn't the commander that died because they're still there.
But
Yeah,
he's
I don't know.
absolutely dealing a lot of damage.
Who's this guy running?
Okay, so he ran
That's
first,
the
I think.
commander.
Either way, this is a weird battle to me. I feel that Marverni should have won.
I think
but
I'm
only
just that
through
good.
only the natural tactical ability of Grippa had him winning.
Exactly. Hear that, Sack? That's so branded. Damn it! I keep mixing up the two nations.
Missourian, if you would have learned from Grippa, you could have won this battle with your scout.
Hey, come on.
Yep.
I'm amazed how far and how fast Marverni's gone underwater with these wet ones. Coconut or Vish, what are the wet ones worth money wise to you?
Quite a lot if they can go underwater and you have no other way of getting underwater.
What's really interesting, we were going over the how much you bid and your bidding strategies for mercenaries, but you weren't here for that one. Whenever I talk to you, you always give me almost an exact number as to how much the mercenaries are worth to you. How do you figure that out?
I figure out by what provinces they can take in expansion. So I would bid a lot for these wet ones because they can take what I wouldn't usually be able to take.
Now let's look at this real quick and see what he's done. He's gathered 3 provinces, and I think that he's going to end up having to be done with them at this point, but it's 3 provinces that he would otherwise not have taken. So how much would you have paid for these wet ones, knowing that you could probably take these 3 provinces?
If I had the gold, I'd pay about 250 to 300 because it does pay off after timing.
Can I interject with a question?
Yeah.
And this is for Coconut. So how much are you willing to risk an expansion party that you can buy for certain to place a bid on a mercenary that you might lose the bid out on and then also lose a turn of recruitment? Is that something you do? or are you not willing to risk recruitment?
I usually go like halfway, as in I cut down my recruitment but don't completely cancel it.
Probably
There
a little
have-
bit subject to nation though, because with Vanheim, making your sacreds is pretty crucial, and expansion is quite strong without doing mercenaries. Whereas compared to Marverni, not relying on sacreds, you're more encouraged to go for mercenaries.
Definitely, but with Vanheim, I'd still pay for water mercenaries, but not land ones.
Yeah, I've seen you cut recruit a couple times for some mercenaries. I know that you're more mercenary prone than what I am by far. And I've seen it pay off, so. Now,
Yeah,
why is he overcommit, or why is he not overcommitting, maybe exactly committing? Gazov, what's your thought on this? Is this overcommitting or is this committing enough?
Well, when it comes to Machaca, it's hard to say. Their troops are pretty poor quality, and you can run into situations where you HP are out because of just misfortune. And I think Sakine's playing kind of conservative here, but it's an elephant province, and you just don't know. I mean, it could be 10 elephants, it could be 5 elephants. You just don't know.
What makes elephants so scary, Grippa?
They're giant sacks of meat that like to trample your guys.
Vish, I've never asked you this. How's your feeling towards expanding with elephants?
they're useful if you don't have any other good expansion tools like Machuca, but they tend to root a lot.
Yeah, that's my problem with them. They always rout on me. They're like every single time I play, it's like they take one hit and then they're gone. Okay, so
Yeah.
Ubar is once again expanding with a double party. Vanheim successful, boring. Am I missing? Oh, okay.
Oh,
So what?
You missed a bump.
Well, I missed a bump. Oh my
Yeah, go
goodness,
back.
I missed a bump.
Boring.
Oh, thank you. This is boring.
A bump in Theodosia's cap circle at that.
Oh
Oh,
man.
yeah,
And
it was.
involve Theodos.
It didn't involve there. Okay, so were you expecting this bump, Nosy? I assume no.
Absolutely
Correct?
not. Absolutely not, because I would not have that formation if I was expecting Wind Riders. See,
Okay.
the thing about the formation for expanding there is that the centaurs will die to arrows.
Okay.
So I need to position the troops forward to catch those, and preferably not the commander, which is exactly the opposite of what you want against flyers.
Yes. So what do you want? If you knew you were gonna bump, what would you have done?
Box, just
Just
commander
put
in the middle,
them on top.
troops around. Yep.
Okay. Would you have put them on guard commander?
No, because I've got 6 of them.
Okay. And we'll
It's
see
not
why.
really that important. Not an important detail for flyers anyway, because they're going to be on you on the 2 turns.
Oh, but
I
they
got lucky.
landed on the
Oh, wow.
white
Yeah.
centaurs rather than the. Oh, that was a disaster. Oh, and then he
What
jumps in.
happened here?
It was either a scripting error or they just failed the check that lets them hit the back row.
Ouch. So, Missourian,
never-
did you have them on attack closest or attack rear?
I don't remember. I want to say, I mean, the convention is attack rear with Wind Riders. I want to say there were a couple of times I had attack closest, and why I think that and what my rationale was, I couldn't even tell you anymore.
Okay, well, let's see where the bump was between. Okay, it's down here. Okay, so it looked like you hit the Lion Tribe archers. Is this a group that you'd want to attack closest with?
No.
Kind of curious. Oh no, you have them on attack reir.
So
Yeah, they
they
just
probably
failed the
just
check
failed
then.
to check to get past then.
And it's one of the really interesting. I guess their discussions was what does it take to to attack rear successfully. Does anybody know that?
It's a morale check, right?
Well, you'd
pretty
say
sure that's
that,
right.
except that perfect morale or mindless flyers won't hit the back row consistently.
Okay.
So is this just one of those mysteries of Dominions like Fear?
At the moment, it may well be that morale plays a factor in it. I'm not sure what the mechanics of it are, but I imagine someone like Loggy or Arco has more information on it.
Okay. I didn't realize, does Loggy do a whole bunch of the theory crafting?
I
He
don't know
does a
about
lot of
theory
testing.
crafting. He
That dude is a boon.
to use Joe Brandon's words, he's a goddamn treasure.
I agree 120%. Oh my goodness, Arco or Missouri, this was a bad turn for you, dude.
Yep.
And looking at this, I feel like you should have won this as well. But you won on the replay. I wonder if my replays are starting to work again. That'd be nice.
Yeah.
Vish, what would you give this percentage wise?
Maybe 50,
Okay, so 50.
maybe less.
Okay,
I'd say 40.
why is that?
I think it's too many troops, and like the Arco's troops aren't very good, but I don't think it's a very costly loss for him.
Okay, so nothing really big loss. Okay.
Yeah. In fact, if I remember right, this group did a little too well. I was saying earlier, I care about the borders, not just the value of the provinces. And with this group, I just followed the path of least resistance. And unfortunately, that meant they just kept going south and south and south, which I did not want them to do, really. And it was a bad border, right? So.
That
Yeah.
happened in 5?
Do you
What's that?
see? Yes, this was in 5. Do you see where you hit, dude? Look
Oh,
right
is that?
next to it.
Oh.
You want to know something crazy? He sold me that province.
Wait, what?
He sold
I think I
me
did.
Province 5.
He ends
And
up
then-
selling you? Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that was
Why?
Did you ever get it?
no.
Because I had it.
Okay, not too many spoilers, okay?
Sorry.
I think at those spoilers, we are going to end it because we have gone a little over.
You can just
it is-
cut that, yeah.
It is past my recording time, and I've had a little bit too much fun today. Thank you guys so much for joining in this next recording. I think these episodes will be going up nearly immediately in a scheduled order. So I'm sure that you guys. I just want to thank you guys so much for joining with me, letting me have a great time, and getting me more content. So Vish, it was wonderful being able to talk to you.
Thank you.
Gazlov, it's wonderful hearing from you again.
Yeah, no problem. Anytime.
Grippa, thank you for joining with us, and great job on
Absolutely.
that Oni Shugo expansion so far.
I am the Yomi expert now. No, I'm not. Don't ask me questions. Please stop.
Missourian, thank you for joining up with us, and sorry for
Okay.
ending on such a terrible turn for you, dude.
Oh, that's okay. Thank you very much.
Nosy, thank you again for joining with us.
Thank you.
Guys, I will see you in the next one. Have a good one. Bye.